Have you ever truly sat with that feeling, the raw, aching void that rises when you've given everything, absolutely everything, and still nothing moves? That gnawing emptiness that builds after the sleepless nights where your mind played an endless game of chess, strategizing, calculating, trying to outmaneuver fate itself. You've pushed, haven't you? You've summoned strength from the deepest wells of your soul, pressed your hands against the cold, unyielding wall of reality, thinking, just a little harder, just one more push. Yet the wall remains. Solid, silent, indifferent, and in the quiet aftermath, in the hollow spaces between your efforts, a dangerous thought begins to bloom. Maybe I'm not enough. Maybe life just isn't meant to work for me. But let me gently hold your hand through this revelation that heavy stillness is not your punishment. That deafening silence is not proof that the universe has forgotten you. It is, in truth, a sacred pause, a divine breath being held on your behalf, a space carved by the universe itself, waiting not for more of your struggle, but for your surrender. That wall you're pushing against, it was never meant to yield to force. It was always waiting to open at the sound of your letting go. And if these words are cracking something open inside you, if they are stirring the quiet ache in your chest that has been longing for a different way, then claim this resonance. Let yourself be seen. Write, "I am ready to let go" in the comments. Like this message, not for me, but as a signal to yourself, a turning point, a new beginning. We must speak about this fundamental misunderstanding, this tragic misinterpretation we've inherited from a world obsessed with control, that letting go is weakness, that surrender is synonymous with failure. But understand, giving up and letting go are not the same species. They are not even from the same universe. Giving up is the energy of collapse, the soul's defeated sigh that says, "I was never worthy." But letting go? Letting go is the energy of supreme faith. It is the decision to step back, to unclench your fists, not because you've stopped caring, but because you finally trust that life is not something you must drag forward with bleeding hands. We are taught to build plans like fortresses with walls of schedules and deadlines, thinking that control equals security. We cling to our blueprints, the job we must have by 30, the relationship that must look a certain way, the healing that must happen within a set number of therapy sessions. But life, wild, beautiful, unknowable life, does not live within those walls. And the harder you try to fence it in, the more disconnected and disoriented you become. Every plan made from fear becomes a shackle. Every attempt to micromanage the mysteries of your journey is a quiet declaration of distrust in the intelligence of the cosmos. What you must know, deeply and irrevocably, is that your destiny does not need your control, it needs your cooperation. It requires your openness, your willingness to flow where you cannot yet see. Let me offer you a vision, one that your soul already knows, but your mind has been too noisy to hear. Picture yourself standing in the middle of a vast, roaring river. This river is the current of your life, the flow of source energy that is eternally moving. Whether you feel it or not, the current is always guiding you, always pulling you toward the shores of your highest good. But your mind, your frightened, brilliant mind, looks at the water and panics. It tells you that you must fight upstream, that you must grip the oars and steer with everything you've got, lest you be swept away to some undesirable fate. And so you fight. You paddle and flail and rage against the current, exhausting yourself, moving inches when you could be gliding miles. Meanwhile, the shore you dream of, the peace, the love, the success, is not upstream. It has always been downstream. Letting go is not abandoning your journey. It is the act of turning your boat around. It is the deep breath you take before you release the oars, trusting that the river knows the way. At first, you may bump into rocks, yes. The river may spin you around a bit, but soon, oh, beloved, soon you will realize you are moving faster, smoother, with less effort than you ever thought possible. The current carries you. The current knows. And here is where the true alchemy occurs. The moment you surrender not from resignation, but from empowerment, your entire energetic field shifts. Your body, previously locked in tension, softens. Your breath deepens. Your mind, once a frenetic storm of what-ifs, finds its quiet center. And energetically, the universe feels this shift. Your vibration rises from the dense frequency of desperation to the lightness of trust, and life responds immediately. Paths that were invisible begin to illuminate. People who were once out of reach feel your frequency shift and are drawn to you like moths to a flame. Opportunities that felt blocked arrive with uncanny timing. But this is not magic, this is resonance. The world outside you is reflecting the world within you. Your surrender signals that you have cleared space, and in that space, life can finally deliver what you've been asking for all along. Not because you fought for it, but because you finally became a vessel capable of receiving it. You became not the warrior battling reality, but the dancer moving with it. So, I ask you now, with all the love my words can hold, are you ready to release the grip? Are you ready to trade the exhausting illusion of control for the miraculous truth of flow? Because everything you want, the peace, the clarity, the love, the abundance, it's already rushing towards you, carried on the current of the universe's infinite wisdom. But it cannot reach hands that are clenched in fear. It cannot enter a heart barricaded with expectations. It cannot speak to a mind too loud with plans. To let go is to finally declare, I am safe, even when I do not know the way. To surrender is to remember that life is not happening to you, it is happening for you, through you, and with you. And if this message has found its way to you, it is because your soul is ready. Ready to lay down the oars, ready to trust the current, ready to float and then to soar. Let this be your sign. Let this be the moment you exhale, unclench, and remember that you are, and have always been, held by something far greater than your own two hands. Letting go is the unspoken power move of the spiritually awakened soul. It is the secret language between you and the cosmos. It is that quiet, internal shift where you cease begging life to bend to your limited will, and instead, you create an open, sacred space for life to carry you forward in a way that feels profoundly aligned, deeply peaceful, truly authentic, and utterly natural. It's a movement from the head to the heart. The head wants to analyze, to predict, to control. The heart simply knows how to trust, to feel, to receive. When you live from the head, you are constantly trying to solve the puzzle of life. When you live from the heart, you become the missing piece, and the puzzle begins to solve itself around you. And here is the beautiful paradox. The very moment you release your desperate chase, everything you were chasing begins to turn around and move toward you. It's as if your desires were waiting just around the corner, waiting for you to stop running so they could finally catch up. The truth is, our obsession with control is a deeply ingrained survival mechanism. It gives us the illusion of safety. Our ego, in its valiant effort to protect us, tricks our mind into believing that if we can just manage every variable, if we can perfect every plan, if we can anticipate every outcome, then we can skillfully avoid all pain, all failure, all disappointment. It's a seductive lie, because it makes us feel powerful. But the reality is, in our desperate attempt to build a fortress against pain, we end up suffocating the very joy, spontaneity, and magic we are trying to protect. We end up living in a beautifully decorated prison of our own making. What actually happens is we choke the life out of the very things we are trying to grow. Think about it in the simplest of terms. When you plant a delicate seed in the earth, you do not storm out into the garden every single day, dig it up with frantic hands, and shout, "Why aren't you growing yet?" To do so would be absurd. You would be destroying the very miracle you wish to witness. No, a wise gardener understands the process. You plant the seed in fertile soil, you give it water, you ensure it has sunlight, and then you trust, you surrender, you let go. You trust the soil, you trust the sun, you trust the rain, and you trust the inherent intelligence within the seed itself to know exactly what to do and when to do it. You allow nature to take its course. Yet, when it comes to the sacred gardens of our own lives, our own dreams, our own becoming, we rarely afford ourselves this same grace, this same wisdom. We are constantly digging up our own seeds. We overanalyze the silence between actions, interpreting it as failure. We panic when things don't adhere to our rigid, man-made schedules. We wrestle with the unknown, treating uncertainty as a mortal enemy to be defeated, rather than a sacred space of infinite possibility to be explored. We try to force the bud to bloom, and in doing so, we tear its delicate petals. But here is the part that no one ever teaches us in school. The universe, or life, or God, or source, whatever name you give to that magnificent, intelligent force does not operate on the frequency of tension. It doesn't respond to force, to struggle, to desperate, needy energy. It is a system of pure resonance. It responds to openness. It responds to receptivity. It responds to alignment. When you stop gripping, you stop resisting. And when you stop resisting, you stop blocking the very flow of grace that has been patiently trying to reach you all along. Letting go is not about abandoning your goals or your dreams. It's not about becoming passive or apathetic. It is about a profound and radical release of how you think they need to happen. It's about surrendering your limited human perspective to the infinite cosmic perspective. It's about letting go of the how so you can become fully available for the what if. Because the moment you stop obsessing over the precise path on the map, you finally lift your head and see the infinite, beautiful, and far more exciting landscapes of possibility all around you. New ideas, ones that could never have penetrated the dense wall of your worry, begin to land in your consciousness like gentle feathers. New people, those who vibrate at the frequency of your true self, not your fearful self, are drawn into your orbit. Things that used to feel like an uphill battle, forcing a square peg into a round hole, now feel easy, fluid, and joyful. You begin to notice, with a sense of wonder, that life doesn't need to be pushed. It is designed to be allowed. It is a dance, and for so long, you have been trying to lead, stepping on your own feet. Letting go is allowing the universe to be your partner, to guide you in a rhythm that is perfect, harmonious, and exquisitely choreographed just for you. Let's take a moment to consider something we rarely stop to acknowledge. How much of your daily stress, your anxiety, your exhaustion comes from chasing clarity too soon? We live in a culture that is addicted to certainty. We have been conditioned to believe that if we don't know what's next, if we don't have a 5-year plan, if we can't see the entire staircase, then we are doing something terribly wrong. We see the void of the unknown and we panic. So, we scramble. We scramble for answers, for signs, for timelines, for external validation that we are on the right path. But life doesn't always hand you a GPS with turn-by-turn directions. Sometimes, in its infinite love for you, it hands you silence, it hands you a period of stillness, it hands you the void. Not because it is cruel, but because you are supposed to hear yourself again. You are supposed to disconnect from the noise of the world so you can reconnect with the divine wisdom of your own soul. And that silence, that sacred pause, that moment of stillness when nothing is certain and anything is possible, that is often where everything real and true begins. Because when you stop chasing the next breakthrough, you finally create the energetic space for the right breakthrough to arrive. Not the one your ego has manufactured, built on a foundation of desperation and a fear of missing out. Not the one designed to impress others or conform to societal expectation, but the one that is truly, authentically in alignment with the person your soul is calling you to become, not the person you are afraid to stop being. Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop begging. It means you stop showing up in the world with an energetic posture of, please, please just let this work out, which is a frequency of deep-seated doubt. Instead, you begin to show up with a quiet, powerful, grounded energy that declares to the universe, if this is for my highest good, it will come to me with grace and ease. And if it is not, then something even better is already on its way. You stop frantically knocking on all the wrong doors, hoping one of them will magically open for you. Instead, you turn around and notice the one door that has been slightly ajar all along. The one you couldn't see because you were too fixated on the ones that remained stubbornly and protectively shut. This is what the act of letting go truly unlocks. It doesn't hand you instantaneous results like a magic trick. It performs a much deeper alchemy. It fundamentally shifts your energy, your vibration, your entire point of attraction, so that you cease to be a barrier to the blessings that have been circling you this entire time. One of the most profound shifts in consciousness happens when you finally realize this truth. Life isn't punishing you when things fall apart. It is lovingly, and sometimes forcefully, redirecting you. A lost job isn't a failure, it's a redirection toward a career that will truly nourish your soul. A painful breakup isn't a rejection, it's a redirection toward a love that is truly in alignment with your worth. A plan that crumbles into dust isn't a catastrophe, it's the universe clearing the ground for something far grander to be built, but we don't see it that way at first, do we? We grip so tightly to the old plan, the old relationship, the old identity, the old job, the old timeline we thought we needed. And in that desperate grip, we exhaust ourselves, trying to perform CPR on something that has already served its divine purpose in our journey. Letting go, therefore, is not just an emotional act, it is profoundly energetic. It's a transmission you send out into the quantum field. You are telling the universe, I trust that what is truly meant for me does not require this much force to stay. I trust that my path is unfolding in perfect divine timing. I am ready to receive. Because here's what most people miss. When you cling too hard, you send out a signal of scarcity and lack. It's a signal that says, I don't believe there's anything better out there for me, so I must hold on to this no matter how much it hurts. And life, like a perfect mirror, responds to that energy. It gives you more of the same, more resistance, more friction, more reasons to doubt yourself and your path. But the moment you loosen that grip, the moment you step back and stop over-managing every single detail and every possible outcome, things begin to rearrange themselves in ways you could never have predicted. It's not magic, it's not woo-woo, it is alignment. It is you finally getting out of the way of the masterpiece that is your life. It is you no longer blocking what has been trying to reach you for months, perhaps even for years, because the things that are truly, divinely yours do not feel like a constant tug of war. They arrive with a sense of flow, a quiet ease, a feeling of coming home. It's a profound sense of, oh, there you are, this fits. You can't get there by trying to micromanage the universe. You get there by trusting it. You get there by deeply knowing that if something requires you to betray your own inner peace just to keep it, it was never really yours to begin with. There is a strange, quiet, and immense power that comes the moment you finally look up to the heavens and say, I am done. I am done trying to control everything. It doesn't feel powerful at first. It feels like surrender. It can even feel like weakness, like you're giving up. But that's only because we were raised in a world that taught us the lie that control is safety, that if you just try hard enough, you can bend life to your will. So we push, we chase, we overthink every decision, every text message, every glance, every outcome, and we burn ourselves out, wondering why nothing is working. But the truth is, control is just fear wearing a clever disguise. It's the fear that says, if I don't hold everything together, it will all fall apart. But guess what? Some things are meant to fall apart. Some endings are just invitations in disguise. And sometimes, letting things break is what finally makes space for something real, something solid, something divinely orchestrated to be built in its place. So, understand this. Letting go is not laziness. It is supreme intelligence. It is choosing peace over panic. It is trusting that life has a bigger, more expansive view than you do right now from your limited vantage point. It is knowing that there is movement happening beneath the surface, a divine choreography at play, even if you can't see it or feel it yet. And the greatest irony of all is that the moment you step back and stop forcing things to work, that is the exact moment they finally do. Opportunities that didn't exist suddenly materialize. People who were distant suddenly reach out. Doors that were shut for months swing open without any resistance. Because life was never, ever ignoring you. It was just waiting for you to stop gripping so tight so it could finally breathe through you. Letting go doesn't mean giving up on what you want. It means giving up on the stress, the pressure, and the false ego-driven idea that you alone have to force everything into place. There is a moment of pure grace that comes after the chaos, after all the overthinking, after the sleepless nights spent staring at the ceiling, after the constant internal war of, why isn't it happening yet? In that silence, you realize something profound. Life doesn't respond to control, it responds to alignment. You can say you want peace, but if your mind is a frantic battlefield of anxious thoughts, checking timelines, and chasing answers, you are not asking for peace, you are rehearsing anxiety. When you finally let go, even for a single conscious second, you start to move differently. You walk slower, you breathe deeper. You stop needing to impress everyone or outpace the invisible competition you've created in your head. And that's when something beautiful and sacred happens. You start aligning with who you actually, truly are, not just who you've been trying to be. The right job starts calling you, the right people begin to notice you. You no longer chase moments, you attract them effortlessly without even needing to explain yourself, because energy doesn't lie. And the version of you that is calm, present, and unattached to that version speaks volumes louder than any words you could ever say. Letting go transforms you from a frantic seeker into a powerful, magnetic signal. And once you become the signal, life has no choice but to start moving toward you. You see, the universe doesn't rush, and when you're always in a rush, you are out of sync with it. Letting go isn't laziness, it isn't passiveness, it's learning to trust what's unfolding without needing to manhandle every detail. And that shift in energy, it changes absolutely everything. Think about it. Have you ever tried so hard to fix a problem, to make someone understand you, to force something to work, and the more you tried, the more resistance you felt? That's the paradox. The tighter you grip, the further it slips away. But the second you step back, breathe, and detach, solutions appear, people respond differently, and your mind starts creating instead of controlling. Letting go isn't about giving up your vision, it's about giving up your obsession. And there is a universe of difference between the two. Obsession comes from fear, trust comes from stillness. And it's only when you are still enough to hear the subtle cues, that inner whisper, that quiet nudge, that you realize life was never ignoring you. You were just too loud inside to receive what it was trying to give you. Sometimes, the most powerful and productive thing you can do is absolutely nothing. Not because you're helpless, but because you are finally wise enough to let life meet you halfway. Letting go is the doorway, alignment is the reward. And once you experience that sacred shift, you will never, ever want to go back. There's a strange magic that begins to unfold the moment you release your grip. Your energy shifts in a way that people can feel, even if they can't consciously understand it. You no longer walk into rooms with anxious eyes, searching for answers. You walk in with a grounded presence, and that alone changes the entire way the world responds to you. You stop trying to convince, you stop trying to chase. And in that stillness, in that quiet self-trust, things begin to move. Opportunities you used to fight for now find their way to you. Not because you don't care anymore, but because your energy is finally clean, detached, unbothered, and that, ironically, is what makes you utterly magnetic. When you stop grasping for a certain outcome, you become open to even better one's outcomes your mind could never have even imagined while it was so busy trying to control everything. Letting go doesn't mean you're careless. It means you are focused, not on forcing life to obey you, but on aligning yourself with what is true. You stop being reactive and you start responding. And more often than not, your response is calm, quiet, collected, because you're not chasing anymore. You are choosing from a grounded place. And once you start operating from that place, it's shocking how much starts to unfold without your effort. The right people stay, the wrong ones drift away, the chaos fades. And suddenly, what once felt so stuck begins, with grace and ease, to move. And maybe that is what this whole journey is really about. Not figuring everything out, not controlling every step, but softening your grip on life just enough to let it breathe with you. When you stop pushing, life starts unfolding. When you stop chasing, it begins arriving. And when you finally let go, life doesn't fall apart. It falls beautifully, magically, and perfectly into place. So this is your divine reminder. You don't have to carry it all. You don't have to force it to happen. You are allowed to relax into this moment and trust that what is meant for you is already, and always has been, on its way. If you have felt this shift even once, comment the word flow below. Let's see how many of us are finally learning to let go.